let's update the BIOS on this motherboard, the ROG STRIX B850-F gaming Wi-Fi. For this, you do need a flash drive that's at least 1 gig. First, let's determine what BIOS this motherboard already has installed on it. Also, for those curious about what BIOS is, it's basically the firmware that your motherboard runs. So if you notice any sort of like instabilities or things like that, you could update your BIOS and maybe that'll fix it. This computer doesn't have any issues with it, but it's always good to stay up to date. First, let's press Windows R, and then in the run dialog, type in msinfo32. Here you can find your BIOS version and date, and based off of this date, I think that this BIOS is going to need updating. Step 2 is go to the support page for the motherboard that you're trying to update, and you always want to double check to make sure that it's the correct motherboard. You should find a BIOS and firmware section, and check it out. It looks like there was a BIOS update last month. All right, so let's go ahead and download it, extract the zip folder. You're going to see 2 files in here, an application named BIOS Renamer, and a cap file named the name of your motherboard. So we're just going to run the BIOS Renamer. It's going to do its thing. It's going to rename that cap file to the name that the motherboard is going to recognize. So we're just going to take that cap file and then copy it to the root of a USB flash drive. So we got a flash drive in there. Make sure that the file system is FAT32. If it's not, you can right click the USB drive, click format, and then make sure this is set to FAT32 and just do a quick reformat. And we're just going to drag it to the USB drive. Now we have to upload this to the motherboard, the scary part. I'm just kidding, it's not that scary. So we're going to shut down our computer. Then on the backside of your motherboard, you'll see a port that's labeled BIOS. And yep, that's where we're going to plug the BIOS USB drive into. Then you'll see this BIOS flashback button right next to it. You just want to hold that down for 3 seconds. Then you'll see a little flashing green LED. That's how you know it's doing its job and it's updating your BIOS. Now this is important. You want to make sure that you don't unplug your computer and don't remove the USB drive until that light stops flashing. Because if that does happen, you're just going to open up a whole can of worms where your BIOS are just going to get corrupted, and you definitely don't want that. So just come back in like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so that only took like 2 minutes, so I guess your mileage may vary. But you can see the light is no longer flashing, so we can go ahead and power it back on. We're at this screen here and it's looking like it has that new BIOS revision update. So we're just going to press F1 and now we're in our BIOS itself. You can go through here and just make sure that any settings need to be changed. Like for example, I'm going to make sure that I put on DOCP. Then let's go ahead and save and exit. Windows loaded up perfectly. And then we can run MS Info again just to make sure that the new BIOS is being reported. Boom.